The 2010s was a monumental decade for animation, and it's no secret that it spawned a brand new animation trend that a bulk of the internet tragically refers to as the Cowl Art Style. Why? Who knows? That term was invented for the Iron Giant, and a lot of people in the animation industry didn't even go to Cowl Arts. A better term, as I stated in the past, would just simply be the beanhead style, as it is a common shape that can make up various characters in an animated series. And while it's not every character, and a lot of animated series managed to retain their own art style despite this trait, I think it's important to acknowledge that this trend really was a first step. The beanhead style was implemented to create simplified, yet appealing character design. Animation is far from a cakewalk. It is a very time-consuming process, but unfortunately when you work in television, you have very short deadlines to produce a full-blown episode. Yeah, it takes about 9 months to create an episode, but a bulk of that is spent overseas animating. The actual window of writing, storyboarding, and revising an episode is way smaller. Storyboarders typically receiving about 4 to 5 weeks to storyboard an episode, and even that isn't just drawing out the boards from the jump. They thumbnail, pitch, and then clean up. So yeah, with only so much time on these artists' hands, you could see why shortcuts are needed. However, the end of the 2010s really began to showcase the strengths of these simplified designs, as not only do we have more and more animated series finding their own distinct style, but combining those simplified designs with the talent of experienced artists and animators, we're stumbling into territory that's almost unprecedented for televised animation. And that includes streaming too. With the 2020s, we're officially crossing over to a brand new animation trend. The next step, the evolution. And I would simply title this trend Western Sakuga. Good animation, fantastic animation, distinct animation, fluid animation. Sequences that really pop and feel alive. The level of animation quality that really, a lot of us thought died with 2D animated films. And today I just want to run through a few examples of this in animation because it is everywhere and it rocks. Now let me just say, although there is definitely an explosion of animated content that features this breathtaking style of animation, it's not like it just came out of nowhere in the last 2 or 3 years. If anything, I would argue this was a long time coming, and those who laid the groundwork continue to propel it to new heights with each and every day. For example, in the early days of Disney XD, we had the fantastic, gone too soon animated series Motor City. God, Megas XLR, Motor City, that other one that I didn't watch yet. Can't these creators just have a W? Their shows are amazing and would fare so much better today. Come on, give me a Megas revival. Give me a Megas revival. Put it on HBO Max. But yes, Motor City throughout the 2010s kind of became the staple defense of Flash animation. Because of typically imported shows like Johnny Test after season 1, ducking on Flash animation became a surface level go-to insult for a series. Of course it looks like garbage. It's animated in Flash. But Motor City came along and changed everything. These amazing, fast-paced, well-choreographed action sequences that constantly knocked the viewers' butts off every single episode. Fans loved it, but unfortunately, it came out at the wrong time, suffering an unceremonious death at the hands of the network. But the spirit of the show would somewhat live on as another Titmouse-produced animated series came to Disney XD, Randy Cunningham, 9th Grade Ninja, which, although it fared longer, also ended up concluding on a cliffhanger. Yay. But Randy Cunningham also had its moments of amazing, fluid, breathtaking animation. I really enjoyed the show, and a huge reason was just, it was so gorgeous and exciting to look at. And I think these two shows really cemented this golden image of Titmouse in my head. Even if the world is on fire, Titmouse would still be producing incredible animation. But it didn't stop there. As you all know, one of the biggest animated series of the 2010s was Gravity Falls. And for integral moments throughout the second season, something pretty incredible began to occur. One of the show's crew members, Dana Terrace, alongside other honorable mention Matt Brawley, animated in-house the most important reveal of the entire series, and later on the death of a major antagonist, Bill Cipher. Now, so much goes into making these moments memorable. The colors, the background art, the music. But it cannot be denied that the jump in animation really elevated these moments into something special, not just in the context of the show, but in the entire animation landscape. Now, I'll give you a little hint. When we begin to see more and more of either in-house animation or guest animation in animated series to follow. For example, Steven Universe, another huge animated titan of the last decade. While a lot of moments already began to pop off, special props to Joe Johnston and Jeff Liu, a game changer for the series came in the season 4 episode Mindful Education, which featured guest animator and huge fan of the show Takafumi Hori. However, thanks to a lot of bad faith criticism, I don't think a lot of people really understand what guest animation means. Storyboarding isn't animating. You'll see a lot of, oh, no wonder this episode looked good. It was done by someone who worked on an anime. But I'm not necessarily positive Takafumi Hori actually storyboarded this episode, although he is credited. Because, as seen later on in the series, he would animate 2 major moments in the movie and the theme song for Steven Universe Future, but those weren't storyboarded by him. Those scenes were storyboarded by different boarders, he just went back and actually animated it, using those storyboards as a guide to draw fluid movement. And then punched up with the line art and colors over C. And any red or blue lines you see is for shading. But yes, Hori's work looked amazing, and he wasn't the only guest animator to touch Steven Universe, as the iconic fusion dance from Change Your Mind was guest animated by James Baxter, the moment where Steven finally finds himself, re-emerging and becoming whole. James Baxter also worked on Adventure Time, a show that also did a lot to push this current trend, with a slew of guest animators all throughout its run. However, with Steven Universe Future, we really got something special with one of the storyboarders, whose name I'm terribly afraid to pronounce, but something a lot of fans noticed with his episodes of Future, that a lot of sequences would be punched up with animations he spliced into his storyboards, adding in a few more drawings than your typical board, which translated quite nicely overseas. There's also OKKO Let's Be Heroes, another show that would just throw you off guard and deck you in the face with incredible moments of Western Sakuga, a highlight for sure being Sonic vs. Metal KO in the Balls to the Walls fanservice crossover that I love immensely. And that as a whole is the way this trend has been implemented. Obviously, they can't do this for the entire episode with both budget and time constraints, but more and more shows are doing their best to include these distinct animation styles that break the mold. For example, The Owl House, created by Dana Terrace, is filled with plenty of Western Sakuga. They always go out of their way to include at least one rock-solid, near cinema-level, fluid animation sequence. A bulk of them seem to be done by Spencer Wan, so round of applause please. But it's not always just fluid animation, but rather using the most of their resources to their advantage to create a cartoon that really stands out from the rest in the West. For example, Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. The show isn't always fluid, but that's due to the implementation of limited animation, utilizing that technique to the fullest to create exciting, beautiful action sequences in every episode. I really need to quote Slice of a Taku to sum up the show. With the way they go about everything, every episode looks like a season finale. There's also Mau Mau, Heroes of Pure Heart, a Cartoon Network series produced over at Titmouse. So, as you can expect, they use Toon Boom and smear frames to the fullest, alongside an array of beautiful colors and textures, to create something that, in my opinion, is one of the most visually diverse animated series to ever air on Cartoon Network. Glitch Text from Nickelodeon over at Netflix also deserves an honorable mention. I need to actually finish watching it, but the action sequences almost always deliver, and its stylized charm really plays into that. Now, recently, the last straw that pushed me to make this video was the announcement of the brand new LEGO animated series, Monkey Kid. I never thought a LEGO series would look badass, but here we are. And again, it's the next installment in this new animation trend of Western Sakuga. God, look at it! Tell me this doesn't look amazing. It definitely has a Rise of the TMNT vibe. A lot of people are already assuming it's the same animation studio, but tell me, would this catch your eye just as much if the characters moved like they did in any other cartoon? Chances are, there probably wouldn't be nearly as much hype around it, which yeah, is a shame, but it goes to show that these strides in animation are making a difference. They are catching many more eyes, and I feel like in a few years' time, we're gonna have just as people gushing over American animated sequences as they do with anime, which makes sense. These artists working animation were inspired by different genres and mediums, different styles. Now, Now, all we really need is an adult cartoon to adopt this trend, and we'll really be cooking with gas. But as always, these are just my thoughts, and I want to hear yours. What do you think? How do you feel about this new trend in animation? How could you not love it? Like, if it's anything beyond love, that's really interesting, and I actually do want to know your thoughts, so please drop them in the comments below or tweet them at Roundtable Vids. And for more of my own thoughts, you can find me at Dr. Thoughts. We're also on Instagram. If you enjoyed this video, please throw it a like and subscribe to the Roundtable for more great cartoon content. Thank you for watching, and I hope you have an awesome day. Ostrich Vox, signing out.